I actually started, no, the second job that I had in government was because of an internship opportunity. So lots of great stuff. We're going to get into all of that and more in today's show. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, welcome to Gov Geeks Assemble. Level up your 9 to 5 on 95. I'm Javier.
And I'm Karen.
And together we are the Gov Geeks. I did a little extra there.
You always do a little extra.
I kind of do.
You are a little extra.
It's just part of my charm and personality. Well, we're talking about internships this week. So getting a job in the federal government, there's tons of different strategies and methods. One of the biggest ones is to use internships as a means to introduce you to the organization, perhaps get the right experiences, and then ultimately get your foot in the door for a full-time position.
Yeah, that's a great strategy right there.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, it's fantastic. You know, one of the first ones that I had was actually when we were still in Texas, because we moved up here going on, what, 20 years ago now already? 17? 17 years ago?
How old is the first one? 16?
16 years? Yeah. So, you know, just a little bit of time. But when we were in El Paso, I worked for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Texas. That was a pretty cool time. The type of program that I was in was actually called it's now called a Pathways program, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But oh gosh, I just blanked on the name of the program. Well, wow. Let me tell you, it was influential. It was fantastic. It was helpful. That gave me a lot of exposure. And at the same time, also, it gave me some credit hours towards my leave, my annual leave and my sick leave and all of that. That was super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're strategizing on how you can transition from either undergrad or grad school to go into government, this is a great program for you. Also, just real quick myth. Karen, do you have to be, you know, like in your 20s in order to do an internship?
No, I think there was even a movie about it with Robert De Niro. You can be any age and be an intern.
Exactly right. The Intern with Robert De Niro. That was such a good one. So a lot of times when people hear intern, they think, well, you know, I don't know if that's really the best route for me because I'm already at this point in my career, et cetera. But think of it this way. Think of an internship as more about a short-term government appointment or government contract. You're able to get in, do the work, and then potentially even get a job after that.
Yeah, and if that's what you're going for and you're willing to do that, then because there are some internships that are paid, some that are not.
Right.
So definitely want to make sure you're looking into the right program.
So we have 3 strategies that we wanted to share with you, specifically 3 different programs that you can look into. Now, these are not obviously an exhaustive list. This is just a couple.
We're only here for 30 minutes, so we just picked a few.
We only just picked a few. Exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off on the first one. The PMF program, the Presidential Management Fellows Program, PMFs. The PMF program is honestly really fantastic. It was started as a way to help ensure that the federal government, the executive branch, had a good continuity of staff to continue its operations, like really high level, highly trained individuals to continue working through their programs. It's run by the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, and it's a fairly competitive program.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, how much do you know about the PMF program?
Not too much, so I'm willing to learn more.
Awesome. You know, it's amazing because the PMF program allows individuals to get a full-time position immediately following the end of the position. In order to have an individual come on board, even for this program, you have to have a position or a billet available.
Mm.
So once the person comes on board, they're working, everything's great. And if they do a good enough job, and if the organization really likes them and they like the organization, they can make the offer and then transition them from that PMF designation as a fellow directly to an employee.
So it's basically a very lengthy interview process.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And really, you should really think about all of the internship experiences like that. It's an interview process.
And who's eligible for the PMF?
Ah, that's awesome. Yes. So to be eligible for it, you have to be part of the program. So you have to be able to apply to the PMF program. So that is a background in any number of skills or areas, but you have to have either your degree or you're working towards the degree as well. As I mentioned before, it's a competitive application process, but really that's pretty much the main things. You have to have obviously a good resume, a good opportunity. I've known a lot of people who,
Because it's very competitive, so you want to make sure it's a stellar resume.
of course, yeah, gosh, if only there was a good place they can go to get a good resume. But I've known people that were in the military, and then they went into the PMF program and then came into federal government that way. I've known people who are graduate students that then became a PMF fellow, and then others still that were undergraduates, and then from there entered the program. Yeah, it's pretty good. Another cool thing that I'll say is the exit points for some people, depending on the agency and the organization that is hiring and selecting PMFs. Not only are you able to transition to the full-time position, but you can also transition to a laddered position. So in other words, it could be like a 9/11/12 or a 13/14. So you get in and then bam, you get like rapid promotion. So it could be quite feasibly that you're able to show up, do a great job, and then within the next year, bam, you're already a GS 13 or a 14.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, gosh, it's a fast track program, really. It's fantastic. But we've showed a couple of the links in the websites if you're interested in looking into this program and finding out a little bit more about it. Again, pmf.gov. You can also just do a search for that Presidential Management Fellows Program or Office of Personnel Management to find out more about it. There's really a lot of great background to it.
Awesome. What's the second?
Okay, so transitioning then, looking at our second is pathways. Now, this is the one that I was mentioning at the very beginning. When I started, and I remember the acronym, Karen, I was a STEP student. So it was a Student Temporary Employment Program. Then that evolved into the SCEP program, the Student Career Exchange Program. Yeah, I guess I did the P there twice, program. But
so STEP, then SCEP.
Now pathways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad they changed it to pathways.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit easier to
Right?
remember.
Exactly. Because before also it's like, oh, that's a STEP student. It's not, it doesn't sound as exciting and happy and everything.
Did some marketing research and focus groups on that one, I'm sure.
I guess so. Yeah. The Office of Personnel Management was looking at how many different ways that people could really get into government, what's really available, what are strategies, et cetera. And they found that there was just a lot of different ones. So what they wanted to do was to create a more uniformed approach or process that would allow people to more uniformly get into government that way.
A pathway.
Into government. What are the odds? And also similar to the PMF program, you have to have the position available as you are going about searching for a person to hire for the Pathways program. These are typically some of the lower graded positions, but gosh, honestly, you can get in at a 7 or a 9. I've also known some people who have been in higher levels in government, or they could be a contractor, or they could have really good relationships with the hiring managers and all that, but they're just not necessarily as ready for the position. So they say, well, go to college, register for a semester, work on something that allows them to say that they are a current student, or if they graduate, it's a loophole. Exactly. Within 6 months of the graduation as well, then bam, they're able to transition straight into a federal employee. And also this is non-competitively because they came in through the Pathways program.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Oh yeah, it is one of the best ways to get into government. Karen, I know you've had a chance to work with any number of people in your career, including interns. I think you even had one that was supposed to come in during a blizzard not too long ago. What do you think is like an expectation setting that a person should have when they're thinking about using an internship as a strategy to get a government job?
Well, I think like we were talking before, it's really an interview. It's where you're getting vetted. So take it seriously.
Right.
And there's a good balance because definitely you want to network since you're there, get to know people, get to know the workings of the agency, just learn everything that you possibly can. But at the same time, do your assigned role really well with your assigned manager so that you can hopefully find a permanent slot within the organization. And I think by doing so and focusing on what your current job tasks are, and again, doing them well, um, you really make a good impression with the organization, with your supervisor,
Right.
and they can introduce you. Let's say if they don't have a position open, they could always, recommend you for another one. So,
Definitely.
and I think with one of the programs that I'm aware of, you're able to, maintain your status as an intern as long as you're able to work a certain number of hours. And again, gaining that experience, I think, is a huge thing for interns.
Right. Because really, when you're writing your resume or you're thinking about what to do, you want to have the right frame of mind to write the resume for what hiring managers are looking for. So if you've experienced it, if you've been there, if you've seen the work requirements, if you know the systems, all of that sort of stuff, you're able to convey that you have the right type of skill set or experience that they're looking for.
Right.
Which
But
is
don't
super
just
helpful.
stay in your, cubicle or your assigned area for the whole time. Talk with your supervisor, get
Yep.
out there, meet more people, learn as much as you possibly can. Just, having that self-starter mentality and the ability to just take it all in and, really get to know the organization, I think is such a wonderful experience for anybody. So being an intern, I think, is just one of those experiences that can lead to many things.
Mhm. So go to opm.gov to find out a little bit more information about the Pathways program. Really, again, a great strategy to think through, like how you can be able to move into government. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the strategies that Karen was going over as to how to use the internship once you're there. But let's transition to another internship program that could help you. We only have just about 3 for you today, but we want to give you some ideas to allow some things to go.
And I think pretty much all of these we've had personal experience with. So
Yeah, definitely. We have definitely had them with all of them.
Mhm.
So the next is specific to an agency. Before we tell you the name of the program, we'll just allow for some context. You could approach any number of the different federal agencies to see about doing an internship directly with that organization. There are a number of agencies that have their own internship program. Also, they may have unique partnerships that that agency has established with local universities because it's part of the outreach program that they're trying to do.
Mhm.
In addition to that, I've had the experience where I've worked with students where they basically contacted us. And we're able to say, yeah, sure, we can set up an internship straight with you. So if it's something that you really want and it's something that the agency has the creativity and the willpower to do, yeah, they can create an internship opportunity for you to go in there.
How awesome is that?
Yeah. Oh gosh, definitely. In fact, I worked with someone on my team not too long ago where because of that relationship, she got the great federal experience and everything. And yeah, now she's a Fed, well on her way. I think she's an 11 now, which is fantastic. So it's really something that's possible. Also, if you happen to know people, again, in the government or in agencies, that networking can lead to that type of an internship opportunity.
Mhm. Networking is key to many aspects in one's career.
Exactly. So it's not just something that you do now, it's something that you need to nurture throughout your career. Your
Mhm.
network is your net worth. So the program that we wanted to share with you actually is part of the US State Department's. So this is the Virtual Student Federal Service Program. This I love, Virtual Student Federal Service. Okay, if you think about the idea about an internship, you are interning with an organization. You are embedded there working with them. There's other things like this program that offer people to do an externship program. So say, for instance, you need to work, you're a federal program manager and you need analysis done. You need presentations put together, whatever the number of things are. Then you can work with a student where you'd say, here's the project, here's everything, let's meet individually, here's some more information for you. And bam, they're able to work on that project remotely. And that's part of their externship.
Wow. Definitely a lot to internships than you would originally think.
I know, right?
I'm just imagining, Devil Wears Prada, where you have to fight for an internship and go find a rare Harry Potter script.
Script, exactly. Well, that idea about what it means to be an intern, I think, is continuing to evolve. It used to be something where, it was this idea that a person shows up and all they do is run around and they make coffee for people.
Right. They should be
things like
thankful that they're there.
Exactly. But if you think about the challenges that government has recruiting for and selecting the right types of people for these positions, they need to be as cognizant of all of the different avenues that they have available to them as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So if they're creative, they can create partnerships directly with universities, with their HR office, with individuals themselves, with associations, all sorts of things like that. It makes me think of this concept about the bubble in government. So if you want to get in, one person is pushing onto the bubble, and on the other side, the person is pulling the person in. So, you're in the bubble and you're like going like this, basically reaching out, trying to find people that are out there, but you can't really see them as well. And then if you're on the outside trying to get in, you're like kind of peering in and you're reaching in, trying to figure something out.
I've never heard of this bubble.
Really?
Is this something you came up with on your own? I never heard of this bubble.
No, I wish. This was something that a good mentor of mine told me a while ago. He also mentioned that when you're looking for the right type of individual, one of the things to do is to, rather than go to a stack of hay to look for the needle, just find the stack of needles and go directly there.
That's awesome.
I know, right? Yeah, just think about that. Or just bring a really big magnet to try to identify as many quality people as possible. But yeah, these are the strategies. Go out there, find different people, work with associations, organizations, all of that sort of stuff. So if you're, again, a student, if you're undergrad or graduate, look at really what you like. What's your career field? What are the institutions and organizations that do the type of work that you enjoy? And then honestly, look at their website. Give them a call. What are their internship programs? What's going on? If you are working with your alumni association or your recruitment office that you have at the university, what contacts could you manage in order to get an internship there?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff.
Well, I know at Comic-Con we've seen agencies there.
Good call.
NASA.
Yeah.
I know I would love to have my agency go there. Mm-hmm. Still trying to make that happen, but
let's hope.
Yeah, you have all sorts of organizations there, which I
National
thought was really
Science Foundation. I think was there a time or two.
Which I think that is really cool, and they have almost their own section, and it's growing, and it's so exciting. I can't wait till Comic-Con is back.
I know. Yes. Awesome Con. We are looking forward to seeing you back. This is going to be good.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of the ways to do this. Also, just to mention, there are organizations that you can work with that could help find you positions in government for internships. So there's two of them. One of them is the Washington Center for Internships and Academic Seminars. Full disclosure, Karen and I used to work for the Washington Center for a time. Great organization in that when people are trying to figure out how to get their career moving, they partner with the Washington Center, who then places them in different agencies and organizations. Some paid placements, some are non-paid. And there's also an academic component to it. Yes. So potentially people could even get credit for their university by actually doing the internship there as well. So there's lots of great stuff there. I mean, I don't know if there's any sort of shameless plug that we can do for the Washington.
But what's the website?
What is the website? Yes, here we go. So twc.edu for the Washington Center. This is a nice mug here that they were nice enough to give to us when we went out and did a couple of presentations for them. But yeah, I mean, look at the website. There's plenty there for the different programs, areas of interest, partners. They have a development series there as
Mm-hmm.
well. Karen and I have gone out and actually done a couple of presentations for current students as well as alumni as well, just because we enjoy the opportunity to connect with people to allow them to further their careers. But that's certainly a great program.
Right. And I still think to this day, it's been one of my absolute favorite jobs when
I can see that.
I was in charge of the Norm Mineta internship program there,
Yeah.
which was appropriated by Congress.
Hmm.
And it was for finding interns for the Department of Defense. And first of all, just matching up these experiences with these driven individuals and finding them a spot in the government, and then just watching them grow and
Right.
excel. And it was truly one of the best experiences of my life. And I think we still keep in contact with many of those interns
Mhm.
now, full-fledged
Successful career people
successful.
established in their career.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
it's just one of those things that really talk about fulfillment. It was one of my favorite times.
I think that was one of the reasons why I felt so excited to work with the Gov Geeks, to help found the Gov Geeks with you, because it's the idea about helping people to help others.
Mm-hmm.
If we help the individual and then they do a great job in government, there you go. They're able to do great things. And so by extension, we're adding to that value.
Yes.
So there's the Washington Center. And then there's also a program that I had gone through, the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. They have what they call HNIP, the HACU National Internship Program. But you can look up the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. This was one of the big things why we were able to make it even into DC.
That's right. They were our way into DC.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. When you were with the EPA.
Exactly right. I interned directly with the EPA. It was through HACU. I came up here and I caught what they call Potomac fever. Just love the area.
You drank the water.
I know, drank the water.
Don't do that.
Had a wonderful time. And it was a great opportunity because there's more growth that was here. And gosh, now we've been here, like you said, 17 plus years. 16, yeah, growing our career here.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any information that you want to share about HACU.
I mean, I have their wonderful mug too.
Ah, look at that. What are the odds?
We definitely continue to give back, as we often do. This is kind of something that we enjoy. So giving back to the Washington Center and giving back to HACU through, presentations for, the interns that are there, and really working with them. And I cannot say enough about, these internships. They're just so driven and just inspiring to see. Mm-hmm. So definitely appreciate all the work that both organizations are doing and the place they hold in our history,
right? And
why we're here too.
Why we're here. So, yeah, definitely. It just means so much to us that we have the chance to continue to contribute. So if you happen to come through either of those programs and you're at the Washington Center or at HACU, and then we do a presentation, it'd be great to go see. In fact, we're doing one here in the near future with HACU, and it's all about personalities, kind of talking about Myers-Briggs. Yeah.
Is that in March? Is that the one in March?
It is March 18th. Mark your calendars.
Not quite St. Patrick's Day.
Not almost. Quite, yes. But, we'll
I can't believe it's March already.
Yeah, time is a flying by. We're already planning out for that. So yeah, those are a couple of programs. Just to give you, again, a good rundown, we talked a little bit about the PMF program, the Presidential Management Fellows program. Next, we talked a bit about the Pathways program.
Formerly STEP.
Formerly, first, the Student Temporary Employment Program.
Not STREP.
No, not STREP. And then they rebranded as a Student Career Exchange Program. And then now, yes, it is the Pathways program, another great one. We talked about strategies to help you find individual internships with agencies directly with them, like the one with the U.S. State Department, the Virtual Student Federal Service program, which is another fantastic one as well. But there's other ones and ways that you can find out how to get those. Then we found partnership organizations as well for you to work with. The first being the Washington Center for Internships and Academic Seminars, and the second one being
HACU, Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities.
yes, very good organizations. So those are a couple of different ones that you may want to consider looking into. And again, these aren't all of the different ways to get an internship in DC or in the federal government, but just a couple to kind of help you out. So let's go ahead and move to questions from the Gov Geekdom. I love this part, always very exciting.
Right. Well, we'll start with the first one, which is, what's the best career advice you've ever been given?
That's a great question. I think a HACU student actually asked us this one one time as well.
Yeah, I think so.
You and I were talking about that one. I know that a colleague of yours had shared something really nice that perhaps you want to share with everyone else.
Right. I think, well, there's been so many pieces of good advice. Gosh, even this week with a lot going on, so many good tidbits of advice. But I would say in the beginning of my government career, specifically when I was flipping over from contractor to federal employee, my manager at that time was telling me, good luck in, becoming a permanent employee, and essentially saying, a piece of advice I have for you is to take something, improve it, and then pass it on to the next person for them to go ahead and take it on and improve it. And I think that was really interesting, so that you kind of learn that you don't really need to hold on to everything that you're doing, but you go in there, you want to make something better, and then you go on to the next thing and learn some more. So I think it was definitely very good advice, and one that I've tried to embody as I've gone through my career.
That's awesome. I'm happy that they shared that with you. And the second question that we have is tied to one of the earlier points that we had, which is, how do you transition from an intern to an employee? And Karen gave some great insight. Don't stay in your cubicle. Make sure you're working with your supervisor, work with others, get your work done, but at the same time, also make sure that you are building the network and connections and demonstrating that you can do the larger job that's needed there, not just that small sliver of work that has been carved out for you.
Right. And that you're willing to help, you're interested in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just that drive that really helps solidify you as a permanent employee.
That's good. Yeah, having as much of that as possible. Connecting the dots between what we just talked about, like good advice, and then this idea about transitioning from intern into a full-time position. I think one of the most incredible pieces of advice that I had gotten was to really just continue to be prepared with all of your resume materials. I mean, know what you have, what you need to apply for, and then just continue to follow that through. So as you're networking, you're exchanging information, you're adding value. You're not just saying, hey, do you have a job? Hey, do you have a job? Something like that, hassling people, but really getting them to understand that you do have some strong value that you're offering, and it would be of their benefit to really take advantage of all of that. Also, another thing is to not just develop good mentorship relationships and good networks, but also think about sponsor relationships. So these are the people that aren't necessarily going to work directly with you, but these are people that could recommend you to others. So they happen to know a hiring manager, and they could say, oh, I recommend that this person be considered. Had a chance to work with them earlier on. Maybe you should consider them. As much of that networking and engagement that you can do, the better off that you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Karen, any closing thoughts on, how a person could transition from an intern to a full-time federal?
Don't throw away your shot. So this is your shot. Many times these are very competitive internships. So the fact that you are even there says a lot, and don't take that for granted. Take in everything and enjoy it. And it is what you make of it.
It is what you make of it. Absolutely. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. For more on all of this, please come out to thegovgeeks.com. We also have every Wednesday a 9-part series on resume writing. We're going to be launching a new one here pretty soon on interviews as well. So that's coming up. But yeah, we have great tools, resources, templates. We're also working on a course as well, so you can
We're
have.
keeping busy.
Yes, we're trying to offer you as much value as possible. But we really appreciate your engagement, your support, all of the activities that you're supporting us with. That's fantastic as well. Closing thoughts? Yeah, we're good. Everyone, again, thank you so much. We'll see you next